Hey guys, what's up and welcome back to my channel, or welcome if you guys are new here. So it's officially September 1st, aka fall season. Now technically it has been fall for me since August 1st. That's when fall starts for me because I love it so much. But now it's officially September 1st, so everybody's starting to embrace the fall season even more. So I thought I'd do something a little different today. I thought I would rank my top 10 favorite fall inspired eyeshadow palettes. I obviously have a lot of eyeshadow palettes, and there are a few in my collections that when I look at it, I automatically think of fall. I want to do fall fun looks with them. So I figured I'd sit back, relax, and I rank my top 10 fall inspired makeup palettes. So you guys want to see what those are, who the honorable mentions are, well then definitely keep watching. Okay guys, so if you guys can't tell, fall is my absolute favorite time of year. I literally look forward to this year every single year. If I could have this up all year round, I would be so ecstatic because I'm obsessed with fall. My favorite color like in the entire world is burnt orange. Like my favorite color is orange, but specifically like Halloween burnt orange. That is my favorite color, followed by like mustard yellow. Like I love a deep mustard yellow that's just screams fall to me. Like those are my absolute favorite colors. That's why I got married in the fall season. My birthday's October 26th, and like I always told Corey, if we ever have a kid, I'd want to have the kid in the fall season so that like it could be like a fall baby. Like I am obsessed with fall. It's my favorite time of year, and there are a few palettes in my collection. You guys know I have a lot that stand out to me and remind me of fall so much, and it causes me to want to do fall inspired makeup looks when I look at these palettes. So I have over 18 palettes sitting in front of me. I am going to mention some honorable mentions that didn't quite hit the mark fully on being a fall palette, but they're still fall inspired. They're still fall inspired colors, so that's why they're honorable mention. And then I'm gonna tell you guys about my top 10 fall inspired palettes. Like when I look at these, I look at it and go, this is fall. I can create beautiful fall looks using this palette. So with that said, guys, let me go ahead and start with our first honorable mention. So coming in number 18, we do have the Beauty Bay Wilderness palette. Now this is not going to make sense to a lot of people, but it kind of makes sense to me. So this is why it's coming at number 18. We do have just this bottom row and this row right here. Like when I look at this, I can create fun fall inspired looks. Like you are going to have oranges, you're going to have like the dirty diarrhea mustard yellow, you're going to have the browns, you do have a little bit of the maroon and a little bit of greens. Greens can sometimes be fall vibes depending on the type of green. It has to be like a deep emerald green, a deep forest green, like a deep olive green to be fall for me. If it's too bright, then it's not going to work. Same thing with like reds. It can't be too bright for me because then it just doesn't remind me of fall. It has to be more like a deep maroon or like a deep purple to remind me of fall. Plus you have the oranges and the yellows and the browns. So that's why it's coming at number 18, because I do see a few colors in here that can be fun and can remind me of like fall inspired looks, but it doesn't fully hit the mark to be a fall palette. So that's why it's mentioned as an honorable mention. Coming in at number 18, we do have the Bee Wilderness palette. Coming in at number 17, we do have the Ace Beauté. This is the Falling For You palette. Now you would think by looking at this palette, this is a fall palette. You do have those beautiful, beautiful colors of like the oranges, the reds, the yellows. It has the Falling For You. It has autumn leaves. You would think this is going to be a beautiful fall palette. But when you open on the inside, it's a little disappointing. Like it definitely is a little disappointing. You do have like brighter colors, and the colors that are like fall-esque are too bright. They're too bright for me to be fall inspired. I can see some of the theming. The names in here are definitely like fall names, like pumpkin pie, autumn, squash, apple. Like they do remind me of fall, but the colors themselves don't necessarily hit the mark in terms of like a fall palette in my mind and my personal opinion. So this is why it's coming in at number 17 today and not being marked in my top 10. But I wish that they would have just gone with the theme of this, because if they did, that would have been perfect. All right, number 16, we do have ColourPop. It's a mood palette. Now this came out, I want to say over a year ago. And when I look at this palette, I can definitely be inspired to create some fall looks. But the only thing for me is that it's very muted and it's very cool toned. So it doesn't really stand out in terms of like the fall, but you do have like the oranges, the purples, some of the greens, and the neutral colors that you can do fun light fall vibes with this, but it doesn't fully necessarily hit the mark in terms of a fall palette. So it is why it's mentioned as an honorable mention today, coming in at number 16, because you can create fun looks with this, just not fully like fall inspired. Coming at number 15, we do have the ColourPop. This is the semi-precious Gemini palette. Now, this may not necessarily look like fall to you, but like, you see that yellow? It kind of matches my nails right here. So when I see this, I see a sunflower, and obviously sunflowers are associated with the fall season. So I can create a beautiful like sunflower inspired look and do something very light toned in terms of like fall makeup looks. I could do something very light, something that's very reminiscent, something that like is perfect for the August September season to do a very beautiful like yellowy brown looks. I think yellow definitely, this particular yellow could be associated with fall, so it's why it's going to be coming in at number 15 today, because it is kind of like the early stages of fall for me, but not fully fall. Coming in number 14, we do have Big Leo Energy. This is another one from ColourPop. Again, you do have this beautiful fall colors. You do have the beautiful burnt orange. You do have a beautiful deeper orange. You have a brown. You do have a dark mustard yellow. That's like a shimmer topper, and like kind of like a rose gold. So this is where I think these two kind of like mix well together. You can pair these well together to create a beautiful fall look, but it's not fully there. It doesn't fully hit the mark, but it's why it's coming in at number 14, because there is some fall tones to it, just not fully enough. Coming at number 13, we do have the Divine Feminine Cosmetics. This is the Phoenix palette. Now, when you see this, you can definitely see some fall inspired looks. You're going to have the oranges, the browns, the deeper reds, like the maroon purple. You do have those golds. This kind of definitely does remind me of like a fall inspired palette. I can create a fall look using this palette, but it doesn't fully like spark the fun creativity that a fall palette would inspire. There's just some beautiful fall tones to it that I'm like, ooh, I could do this with the few colors that's in here. So that's why it's coming in at number 13 today for the honorable mention. Coming at number 12 for honorable mention, we do have the ABH Norvina collection. This is the volume 3 palette. Now, when you look at this palette, you can definitely see fall vibes with this palette. Like, you definitely see like those oranges, those yellows, those maroon colors, the purples, and a little bit of the greens, but the greens are a little bit too poppy of a color, and some of the oranges in here are a little bit too bright. I think this palette overall definitely has some fall vibes to it. I think it definitely has some fall colors to it, but I think the colors are a bit too bright for my personal taste. So it's not, so it's why it's not making the top 10. And I also don't like how it's arranged. I feel like if they arrange this differently, you could probably create really fun fall looks with this, but because of the way it's arranged, it kind of like throws me off and getting inspired for fall fun looks. But there's definitely some beautiful fall look. There's definitely some beautiful fall colors to this palette, so that's why it's mentioned as an honorable mention. And then coming in at number 11, our last honorable mention who almost made the mark, we do have the Huda Beauty. This is the Topaz Obsession palette. Now, when you look at this palette, you can definitely see the fall vibes of this. You're going to have the oranges, you're going to have the yellows, you're going to have the neutral browns, and you're going to have those little shimmers right there that you can create very beautiful fall inspired looks with. It definitely is hitting the mark in terms of what I'm looking for as a fall palette, but I do think there's other ones in my collection that just hit it just a tad bit more. So that's why it's right there at the cusp. So that's why it's coming at number 11 as an honorable mention, because this is definitely a beautiful fall palette. I think it matches my background very beautifully. Just there are other ones that are just a tad bit better, but you are our last honorable mention. You almost made the mark. Alrighty guys, so now we're gonna actually get into my top 10 fall palettes. Like I said, when I look at these palettes, I get inspired and I just want to play with them. I want to create beautiful fall looks using these palettes. So coming in at number 10, we do have the ColourPop Be Poppy palette. Now, when you open this palette, it just like screams fall to me. It matches my background very, very beautifully. I do love those beautiful oranges, those browns, and the neutral colors that you guys see right here. Now, this is a matte palette, so if you're looking to do a beautiful like matte inspired fall look, this is definitely one for you. But the reason why it's coming in at number 10 is because there's not enough dimension to this palette in terms of what I'm looking for fall. I want to see a mix of yellows. I want to see a mix of brown. I want to see a mix of yellows and oranges, possibly some deep reds, or like possibly some deep maroon colors, maybe even some purples in terms of a beautiful fall palette. Like, that's what I'm looking for. It definitely hits the mark in terms of like the orange theme, and that's why it's coming at number 10. I feel like if this was mixed with my Little Ray Sunshine palette from ColourPop, oh, it would be the perfect fall palette, because you'd have the yellows, the oranges, and the maroons mixed in one, and that is the perfect fall palette. But unfortunately, they sold them separately. They're not together. They should have been. So it's coming at number 10 because it is a beautiful fall palette. You can create very beautiful fall matte looks with this, and it can mix very well with all the other palettes in my collection. So number 10, we do have ColourPop Be Poppy. Coming at number 9, we do have another ColourPop palette. This is the Orange You Glad palette. If that doesn't scream fall, I don't know what else doesn't. This is literally a beautiful fall inspired palette. It matches my background very beautifully. You do have those different shades of oranges. Now that's the only reason why it's at number 9 is because it's just oranges, but you can create very beautiful fall looks using this palette because you do have the different variation of orange colors in here, and to me it's just so damn pretty. I can create, like right now I'm wearing like an all orange over my eyes, and I think it's absolutely beautiful. It reminds me of fall so much, and if you pair it with the right lip, it could be even more fall inspired. I just want to go for a lighter lip today instead of a deeper lip, but yes, when I look at this palette, I'm like, oh my god, yes, get me so excited, get my PSL, let's get the fall season started. Like, I see that when I look at this palette. And at number 8, we do have the BH Cosmetics. This is the Orange Sorbet palette, and this is another beautiful orange tone palette right here. You can create very beautiful, fun, orange inspired looks with this. It does have a little bit more of like a mix of like a mustard yellow and orange mixed together. I feel like this is why I put it at number 8 because of this shade right here. You do have a little bit more of a brighter oranges in here with your deeper oranges, but I definitely get inspired when I look at this. I think again, it matches my background very beautifully. I love the formula in this palette. I love the shimmers in this palette. I think it's a very beautiful fall inspired palette. I get excited when I look at it, and I just think it's absolutely beautiful. Very beautiful palette. That's why it's coming at number 8, because there's one that's just a little bit better than it, but I think it is so freaking beautiful. Coming in at number 7, we do have the Be Perfect Cosmetics. This is the Carnival, the Antidote palette in collaboration with Stacey Marie. Guys, when you see this palette, like if this doesn't scream fall, I don't know what else doesn't scream fall. You are going to have the mix of your oranges, your yellows, and your greens with a little bit of the purple sprinkled in. Like, this is a beautiful, beautiful palette. I definitely think it screams fall every time I look at it, and it's so funny. I only ever want to use this palette in the fall season. Like, I don't ever have any desire to use this palette unless it's the fall season because it just screams fall to me. Like, everything about this screams fall. I think it's so beautiful, but I also think it's a little overwhelming. I think if they would have just kind of narrowed it down and changed it up just a bit, it could even be more of a better fall palette, but I think it's absolutely beautiful. It's why it's coming in at number 7 today, because it is a beautiful, beautiful fall palette. But I definitely think there's just a little bit too many greens in here to fully consider it the perfect fall palette, but you do have this beautiful mix of oranges, yellows, purples, and those greens right there. So very, very beautiful, thought out palette. Coming in at number 6, we do have another Be Perfect Cosmetics palette. This is the Carnival 3 Love Tahiti. This is the Stacey Marie collaboration with Be Perfect. And when I see this palette, again, I see so many different fall vibes to this palette. It looks very similar to the one before, but this one's gonna be a little bit more deeper in terms of the colors. So you are going to have those oranges, the yellows, all the variations of purples, and the greens. But I do think it's a little bit too heavy in certain colors, and some of the colors in here are a little bit too bright for me. But there are those perfect range of those perfect fall colors I'm looking for. Like these 3 right here are perfect, these 3 right here are perfect. You have the mix of the deeper purples that are perfect, like the greens are perfect, and the browns are going to make a beautiful fall palette. Doesn't fully hit the mark on everything I'm looking for, but I definitely think it hits the mark in terms of making me inspired to create fall looks with it. And I think it's so beautiful. So I definitely had to hit the top 10 because when I see these colors, I'm like, I can create beautiful, fun fall looks with this, and some Halloween looks with this too. Coming in at number 5, we do have the P.Louise. This is the All the Signs eyeshadow palette. First off, can we take a moment to appreciate the packaging? The packaging on this is just so beautiful. But when you open the palette on the inside, this is a beautiful fall inspired palette. You are going to have those yellows, those oranges, and those browns. Like every time I see this palette, I'm like, yes, the fall season's here. I could create very fun looks using this palette. I think it's absolutely beautiful. It definitely hits the marks on a lot of things I'm looking for in terms of a fall palette. But I do wish it definitely had some pops of like purples in this, or maybe a little green to make the perfect palette. But it definitely hits the mark I'm looking for in terms of mixes of oranges and yellows for sure. I think the browns add a nice little touch to it, and I just think it's an overall beautiful, beautiful palette. If you're looking for a very gorgeous formula, this is definitely one to go for. It definitely hits the mark on the fall palette. So number 5, we do have the P.Louise All the Signs palette. Coming in at number 4, we do have the Endangered Cosmetics. This is the Red Panda palette. when I first played with this palette, I was blown away with how, one, amazing the formula was, but two, how inspired this was for me to create fall looks. You're gonna have these beautiful like inner corner shades. You are gonna have the beautiful yellows with the deeper reds, with the purples and the oranges. I see this, I see fall. From the outside packaging to the inside, I see fall. I definitely love the look that I created with it, because when I created that beautiful look, it was just like fall to me. It was a beautiful fall palette. I got very inspired when I saw this palette to create very fun looks with it. So I definitely think this hits the marks and what I'm looking for a very beautiful, simple fall palette. So number 4, we do have the Red Panda palette from Endangered Cosmetics. Coming in number 3, and this one was very hard for me because I really do love this palette so much. It's my number 1 favorite ColourPop palette, and it was my number 1 favorite fall palette all last year. But we do have the Little Ray of Sunshine from ColourPop. This to me is such a beautiful palette, and a lot of people out there might not understand why this is going to be number 3 or why it's even in the top 10, because it is pretty much a yellow tone palette compared to everything else I'm showing you. It's like more orange tone, but I love the way that this looks. You guys can tell I love this palette so much. I hit pan. I never hit pan on any of my eyeshadow palettes because I literally have like over 400, like 80 something palettes at this point. So it's very hard for me to hit pan, but when I do, it speaks volumes. I love creating fall looks using this palette. You're gonna have those beautiful mustard yellows. This color right here is a beautiful mix of like a burnt orange and brown, and it just creates the most beautiful fall vibes. I love playing this palette, and I specifically love mixing it with the Big Poppy palette. Like, you put these two together, this is the perfect fall palette. Like, this is everything I'm looking for, and they just need to be mixed together, but ColourPop didn't want to do that. But I just love everything about this palette. I love the beautiful like mustardy yellows. I love this burnt orange shade you have right here, the deeper yellows to browns. I just, every time I look at this palette, I think of fall. I think of the fun looks that I created with this palette. I just love playing with it so much. My favorite color in the entire world is the shade Sunnies. This is that beautiful like mustard yellow that I was telling you guys about. My fingernail kind of matches it. It's just an overall beautiful palette. If you guys get anything from this video, definitely check out the Little Ray of Sunshine, because it truly is just so damn good. It's so good. It's like that perfect fall palette to me. It really is. Now, coming down to the last two, this is where it got really hard for me because both scream fall to me in their own ways, but one beat it just a little bit more than the other because of the colors that are in here. So coming in at number 2, it's actually what I'm wearing on my eyes right now. We do have the P.Louise Stack Them Up. This is the, I don't even know what palette this is. We do the P.Louise Stack Them Up, Take the Risk, or Lucid Change Back Yourself palette right here. This is a gorgeous, gorgeous, gorgeous fall palette. You are going to have those oranges and the mustard yellows. Everything I'm looking for in terms of a fall palette. Now, I am wearing my eyes today. I'm wearing the shade Back Yourself all over the lid. I blended it out with the Take the Risk. Then I put the shade The Time Is Now all over my lid. And then in the center, I popped it with the shade Show Me Sterling right here. I popped that right in the very, very center to give it just a little bit more of an extra pop. I think it's a very beautiful fall palette. You're going to have those oranges. You're going to have the deep oranges. You're going to have the deep yellows. You do have a little bit of the brown, but again, the brown's kind of mixed with orange. I see this palette, I see fall. Like, it literally, it matches my outfit, it matches my nails, it matches my background so wholeheartedly, and it was so hard to put this at number 2 because it is everything I'm looking for in terms of the colors for fall, with the deep oranges and the deep yellows and a little bit of brown and the shimmers. The shimmers just make it just chef's kiss. It is such an overall gorgeous palette, but it was so hard to choose between this one and number 1. But when you look at this palette, it says pumpkin spice latte, it says fall, it says pumpkins, it says autumn leaves, it says everything about fall to me when I look at this palette, and I cannot stop staring at it. I cannot stop playing with this because I think it's an overall gorgeous palette, absolutely worth it, especially for the fall season. And then coming in at number 1, now if you guys have been on my channel for a minute, you guys will have seen me talk about this palette numerous times. I've actually worn this palette in numerous videos because I love it so much, and when I see this, this is everything I'm looking for in terms of a fall palette. Yes, I do want the greens, yes, I do want the purples, but there's something about this palette that I just can't stop obsessing over. I literally want to put it on my eyes every single day because of how gorgeous it is. I just recently wore it in a video for you guys. I did my Jack and Roxanne. But we do have coming at number 1, the Colored Rain Queen Bee palette. First off, the outside screams fall. I mean, like, literally everything about this screams fall, from the colors. I love bees. It's a beautiful fall palette. And then when you open it on the inside, this to me is what I'm looking for in terms of a fall. I don't need too much to make a fall palette, but you're gonna have the beautiful mustard yellow. You're gonna have the beautiful orange. You're gonna have the mix of orange and red. You're gonna have a beautiful black shade. You're gonna have this beautiful like gold shimmer topper with a little bit of a green topper right here. Like it's literally everything I'm looking for in terms of it. All they had to add was just a purple shade, like a deep purple shade, and this would have been perfection. It would have been everything I'm looking for in a fall palette, but I truly can't get enough of how gorgeous this palette is. It screams fall to me. This color orange, the honeycomb, is everything to me. It's everything I'm looking for in terms of a fall orange mixed with the pollen and love. These two create such a beautiful, beautiful look. I'm so obsessed with it. You mix the shade Beehive. It's that beautiful like orangey red mix with the shade Unbelievable. It's like this beautiful golden yellow shimmer topper. You do have the Mind Your Business, which is a like green mix right there. So you have a little bit of green, and then you have a black shade, and black can also be associated with fall. There's a lot of black and a lot of fall colors, and so I just see this palette and it says fall to me. I love everything about this palette. I love the looks I create with this palette, and every time I want to do something fall inspired, this is what I go to. I pick this up more than anything else right now because this is screaming fall to me. It's everything I'm looking for in a fall palette, and I just get so inspired. And the best part is it's by an indie brand and it's only $16. Quite a few of these palettes I mentioned to you are in the $40 to $50 to $60 to $70 to even $100 range. Some of the palettes I mentioned to you today in my honorable mention to top 10. This right here is $16. The formula is incredible. It lasts all day. It does not budge. It does not smudge. And it literally is my perfect go-to fall palette. Like I literally am so obsessed with this palette. I'm going to hit Pam because I'm gonna keep going back to this palette time and time and time again. Truly, I'm so glad I got this. So those are all the palettes that remind me of the fall season. It's obviously my favorite time of year. You guys know how much love and thought I put into my background because fall is just my everything. My whole home is decorated with fall. It's my happy time. It's my happy space. I live in Florida, so unfortunately fall doesn't exist for us. Fall is like what's that? Because it's still like 95 to like 90 degrees here up until like December, when maybe we might go in the 70s. So I never get to enjoy the fall season. It's always been my dream to go visit a place in the fall where I can see like orange leaves. That'd be such a dream. We don't have that here. That's just non-existent. So seeing these palettes get me so excited for the fall season. It gets me so inspired. So I just wanted to sit back, relax, and tell you guys my top 10 favorite fall palettes and my honorable mentions who are right there to be the best fall palettes. So hopefully you guys enjoyed today's video. I definitely had a lot of fun ranking in and playing with my favorite fall colors. Let me know down below what palettes I showed you today that are your perfect fall palettes, or if there's palettes that you guys have that I don't have that scream fall, please let me know so I can go check them out. But yeah, guys, that is it for today's video, guys. If you guys enjoyed it, please make sure you guys give this video a cheeky thumbs up. Don't forget to subscribe to my channel if you guys have not already, because I do post 4 to 5 videos a week. Make sure you guys head over to my other channel. It's all for the life for you guys to see my cool, wonderful adventures, my amazing husband, Corey. And as always, the biggest thank you goes to all these beautiful, wonderful Patreon members you guys see right here. Thank you guys so much for everything. And to my subscribers and viewers, thank you guys so much for being here. Whether you guys like this video, you guys thumbs down this video, you guys subscribed, you guys did not subscribe. Either way, thank you guys so much for being here. I love and appreciate each and every single one of you. So with that said, guys, I love you, and I'll see you guys in my very next video. Bye.